the analogy I was talking to Brent before we got on, and I've used with others is in the construction business. Is like you're hiring your brokerage house is like your general contractor, and they've got all these other costs and fees that they're covering with the stuff that you were mentioning, Brent. And you're hoping that they do a great job screening all the subs and getting the right people in for your job based on the skill and knowledge and expertise that's needed for that. And if it's pretty simple and they can get by with maybe some cheaper labor on that, then that's going to be some savings. Or if they don't have it, if material costs go down, yeah, we were kind of building in, it was going to be this, but actually it turns out it was easy. We got done faster. And so you have that open relationship, and it's more transparent for how the billing's taking place. And I think everybody feels a little bit more comfortable about it. And they know that they're investing in a better product and something that's going to help them actually have a better ROI long term. Another analogy, and again, you try to talk to engineers and accountants, and even though it's less than 2% of an AFE cost on a well for the land cost, it's like break that down and show me how investing more will actually help me long term. And some of that is in that the insurance or the savings of a tidal bus. The other is on if you look at time value money and how can we actually get those wells producing faster. So if whether it's paying for some technology or paying for more skilled labor or more bodies to be working on these projects, if you can get the drill sites done faster, even using a base 500 barrel a day at that strip price today, you're talking about a 20 to 30 day kind of a month difference is five,
Be all the difference.
$6,000. Yeah, it's a big deal for that year, and that's per well. And so you extrapolate that over some of these bigger multi-billion-dollar CapEx drilling programs for these companies, and you're like, oh wow, land made a difference this year, and that spending was maybe it seemed scary to put it in the budget that it was higher than it was last year, and you had to explain to the CEO or the board about what we're doing. But at the end of the day, when they see those returns, they're like, well, can we put more into it? The engineer mentality is like, well, spend more, put more people on it. We'll put 20 engineers on it. We'll figure it out tomorrow. It's
Of course, you can put more high dollar engineers. Don't you dare put a $25 more expensive landman.
Exactly. And so being able to explain what that looks like, and also putting a human element to it. Like these are the faces of the people that are being impacted by the decisions in a boardroom somewhere.
Well, you made a great point earlier. It's, if you're operating in the Eagle Ford or South Texas or the Permian Basin and you send someone out to negotiate a lease with a major landowner, that's the face of your company.
Yeah.
What did it cost you if you didn't get that lease because you had some, dollar, I'll call it Dollar General because I love Dollar General, but if you didn't have a qualified person, right, negotiating that agreement or representing your company on your behalf, it's a company maker or breaker for some companies. A small startup company, that 1,000-acre lease could be everything. So, you can pinch pennies and look at dollars and cents and look at, I'm talking about a 10% increase or a 20% increase in a day rate. Well, when it all boils down to it, what's your opportunity lost because you were pinching pennies on a landman or on land, and
those what would be the cost? What would be the cost of your company if you brought all that work in house? Yes. And you're having to pay all the additional insurance and benefits of these folks, or it's like, no, we want our in-house landman to be the face of this deal, so we're going to send him out for all closings.
Yeah. So what is he not doing?
Travel cost, and what's he not doing when he's not in his office? And so you're paying somebody a lot of money to really just travel around, and there's hard work, but it's like there's missed
hard
opportunity.
Work. It's time.
It's time is the biggest deal.
It's all about time. And look, the field profession is the reason. There's a reason they're 1099s. You need them to be disposable. That's what you don't hire a plumber and keep a plumber on staff,
right?
Waiting for the day your toilet breaks. And that's an accepted practice in our industry, and it works, and that's not going to change. I don't think that it needs to change. You need independent people. You need, again, you don't have to have all those people on staff, but I think as an industry, we have to, in a profession on the field side, we have to do better with information. You can't argue that case if you can't provide information. That's why, a lot of things that we're trying to do is, what's our cost for this project? Our day rate's $30 a day higher than, another group. but did we get it done quicker?
Mhm.
You know, and I think that's something that you have to analyze at the company level. And I think we're really trying to push our clients to say, hey, are you tracking this?
Mhm.
You know, are you tracking how many days it takes to get this abstract done across all your shops and all your brokers? You know, are you tracking cost per acre on your leasing job for
Yeah.
services?
Yeah.
And I think when we do that, and as an industry, if you know in the field we're able to do that, well then we have information
Yeah.
other than just saying an F-250 costs twice as much.
Mhm.
You know, you have to provide value if you're going to increase your rate. And and I think as an industry we need to get there, and I think we can. There's
Right.
tools and resources and technology and things out there that if you run your business a certain way and capture certain information, you can provide that. And if
Right.
we can provide that, then we can show our value. And then
Mhm.
you have the separation. You'll have folks that don't want to do that, but you have other groups that can provide that information, can be accountable for their cost and justify what they're doing.
Right.
And then also be able to report to my customer, hey, these are the 7 people on your job. Here's their skill set. Here's their resume. Here's the analysis that we did with them. Silly things like, do they align with our core values as a company? You know,
Mhm.
have I graded this person? How long have they been with my group? Right? How much history and confidence do I have in them and their abilities? When you can show all that, then it makes it much easier to say, hey, I need a raise. I need to pay these guys. And this is why. And this is what you get for that.
Mhm.
And I think going through if we can do that, then I think we've done our part. And then it's just a matter of really the den of pirates, us brokers and field people, understanding that, hey, look, you don't have to shortcut to get work. You don't have to
Right.
price, you know, you don't have to cut your prices to get work. You need to be proud of what you do and say
Mhm.
this is what it needs to be. Um,
Yeah, I'll go back to your plumber analogy, and I think it kind of ties into what you're saying. I think it's interesting. Part of what APL is working on right now is trying to bust some of the molds and start some conversations. And so this may land flat on its face as I'm going through this analogy. I haven't really hashed this out completely, but while you were talking, I thought it's like, yes, I should not have a salaried plumber for my house. That is stupid. Like that's way like
yeah.
I just call them when I need them. But if I ran a water park, I probably need to at least have a plumber on retainer that'll come in the middle of the night to stop that leak so I can
Yeah.
actually open up the next morning.
Yep.
And so one of the things that I've talked to a lot of the brokerage groups about, which is really a thing a friend of mine that runs a large law firm in Houston was sharing with me, is like, ask for a retainer. If your client is not willing to put up a cash retainer monthly to keep you available and maybe not competing with them and working for other people, then this relationship's not going to work very well. At some point, we're going to be bickering over cost and price instead of saying, and again, it's going to be different for the size number of guys you're running, but like 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, like what is the monthly cost that you're willing for us to know we're getting in the door that covers all of our overhead, keeps the lights on, and makes us want to work with you? And again, that's different in the attorney world versus the brokerage world, but it happens in other services too. Like that's why you pay
100%.
or have guys on call for certain services, even like your AAA stuff for fixing your car. There's some costs going in for that 1 or 2 times that you use it. And so if you think about structuring some of those rates and opportunities a little bit different, I don't know, it opens up a dialogue of thinking about just this. For 100 years, we set a day rate, and
Yeah,
that's
I
what it
know.
is. And
It's
instead of saying what else is out there, in the technology space, most of the companies they don't want to have whatever Meta was paying for AI engineers, several $1 million a year base salary.
yeah.
A lot of them don't want to have that on their books, and so they're just paying consultants for everything. And so, but the way those consultants are structuring their pay is there's some sort of retainer or base that I know that I'm going to get paid each month, whether I work for you
Yeah.
7,000 hours and like
Yeah.
just, sitting at my desk drinking coffee, or 2 hours. But I get paid a bonus based on the total project. So we have this dead point, and as long as I hit the deadlines that the company or the client has set, I get some incentive to get done on
Something.
time, faster, cleaner, with no hiccups. And
Yeah.
so I think there's some ways to again, educate and empower our members to think about structure differently than just the way they've always done it.
Yeah.
Sometimes the way you've always done it works, and it shouldn't change, but you have to at least to be able to think outside the box and ask why.